Alright, tree number 2 of 3. Got that massive one done. Took 2 days. Today, I'm gonna get this one limbed out and topped. And then tomorrow, I go to my other job for a week. So in a week, I'll come back, chunk this down, clean up the logs. Next day, this one right here. Alright, let's head up. I'm notching this big limb to swing out this way, but it's got this hanger in it. I'm gonna reach out as far as I can, cut this, let it hang up in there, and then send it so it's not gonna pull against this when it goes. Very good. like to send this top right here, like one of these limbs off, a little bit of weight. This. We got the wind coming straight this way. All right, we're back. It's been a week. We've still got this one to chunk down. I'm gonna do that later today. But this pear tree here, I told them that if it takes a beating, I'm gonna go ahead and take it out for them. And I'm looking at this whole thing and it's pretty bad. I'm gonna do this first, get it out of the way, go over there, get that thing chunked down. So I got the chipper set up here. I'm gonna give this a quick climb. Got a drop line to the house right here, so I can't just fall it. Take some limbs out real quick, run this through the chipper, then we'll get onto this thing. Yeah, see, this thing is pretty bad. If I get this one loaded up and taken off today, then that puts me on track with my timeline. So we'll just see how it goes. I've got a new method I'm gonna try for trunking stuff down. I'll explain it a little more when I'm up there. Working alone, there's a lot more challenges. You gotta do, I mean, with the equipment that you have, your capabilities. My little micro machine over there, it's a wonderful machine. It's worth its weight in gold, but it doesn't, I mean, it does not pick up very big stuff. My back doesn't have to do it, but since I'm limited by the size I can pick up, it changes everything as far as how big of stuff I chunk down. Do I just send big pieces and then cut it up on the ground where a lot of dirt is introduced, or do I stay up in the tree, just take the extra time to chunk it down there? If I cut up logs on the ground, that's going to concentrate the sawdust, and I'm going to have 6 to 8 trash cans full of sawdust to scoop up at the end of the day, versus if I cut up there, it kind of disperses it to where all I really got to do is blow the driveway off. That saves time. See, it's a little bit more tasking on the body to be in the tree for longer, but just all pros and cons, trade-offs. So anyways, I'm gonna try a new technique out for chunking stuff down that may make it a little bit easier, make it go quicker. And if it does, it would make it a little bit more comfortable to just stay in the tree and chunk it down versus come down and cut stuff up after. My saw tied onto the end of the climb line, so when I get up there I can set up a little pulley and then pull it up to me with a 2-to-1. All right, I got water, saw. All right, let's go. All right, we are here. So I got myself tied in, and I set this little pulley up to the tail of my climb line as I'm going to use to bring this saw up. So this is what I'm trying. This is a 1/4-inch rod. I believe it was 36 inches. All I did was bend it over, made a hook. And my goal was to, for me, when stuff starts getting to where it's shorter than it is fat, with just pounding a wedge in the back, it's really hard to, get the saw out. And then once I do, to push it over, because the log will pop off the wedge and then it sits down, and it's just really hard. So now that it's starting to get bigger, where the saw's in deep and I can get this past the halfway point, as soon as I cut it, the log sits back on the curve. To take the saw right out and then roll it right off. It seems like it's not going to work good on smaller diameter stuff, but then again, that stuff's easy to push anyways. It's once it starts to get fat like this. So I think it's starting to be a pretty handy tool. I'm liking it so far. Also, another point, now what I could do is I could also just make deli cuts or salami cuts, cut them at an angle like I did on that one, and then they just slide off. The problem with that is that makes me nervous. If I cut this, I'm going for a ride. Coming down on an angle like that, it makes me so nervous that I'm double checking, so you're spending a lot more time walking around the tree. Every cut you're walking around, and you never know when these things get huge on the back side if your rope is just over a little something. I just don't like it. I like this solves my problem. I think I'm able to still do. Now I could also do just a slight angle down and it will probably roll off. I wouldn't have to do the big angle. I'm going to try doing that. I'll try doing smaller angles down where I'm not worried about cutting this, but yet it'll still roll off the log. Let's give that a shot.